Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're doing good today. Well, today I'm going to show you my Big Zack hybrid tomatoes, my San Marzanos, and I have yet to find one tomato that has blossom end rot on it. And so I am going to show you something a little peculiar with these Big Zack tomatoes. I've never grown them before, but I'm going to talk about what I did to plant these, and I'm going to give an alternative to how I did it, just in case maybe you can't do it exactly like the way I did. So let's go ahead and we're going to get into this. Okay, so take a look at these. These are Big Zacks, and some of these are going to get real big. No end blossom rot. We'll try and get through here and take a look. No end blossom rot. Even these little ones all the way up at the top, no end blossom rot. Now they do have a little bit of a deformity on the bottom, which I will talk about that here in just a minute. But from top to bottom, just no end blossom rot. Now let me show you some San Marzanos that I got. Okay, so these are San Marzanos. And San Marzanos are something, they're trying to get around these leaves. They're kind of prone to blossom end rot, and so far just none. I've got these little ones over here, no blossom end rot. If I can get it over here and show you, none of these small ones have blossom end rot. So I think I'm doing really well. Usually when they first start coming on, I will get a few that have blossom end rot on them, but not this year. And so let me show you something weird about these Big Zacks that I'm finding, and then we're going to talk about kind of how I grew these. So let's come on over here. All right, now I made a video earlier this year where I talked about wanting to grow a 5-pound tomato on these Big Zacks. And I've actually read where there have been people that have said they have grown a 7-pound tomato from these. So I'm going to show you some of these bigger tomatoes and what's kind of peculiar about them. So take a look. Now these aren't 5-pounders. I've got them, you know, kind of supported here, but they are getting real big. And even these bigger ones, no blossom end rot. The peculiar thing about them is some of them are doing this, and it's almost like a cat face or something. They're not all quite doing it, but several are. Now if you have grown these before, I never have, and maybe you've ran into this, please share what you know. I think it's just something that's kind of inherent to a tomato that grows this big. I don't think there's anything wrong with the tomato or the plant or anything like that. So I'm going to show you what these look like. I'm going to talk to you about how I planted them and what I used, you know, when I did plant them, what amendments. So we're going to go ahead and come on over here. Okay, so this is in between the first two rows, and you can see it's a forest in there, just huge. And this is the outside, you can see a little better. But you look down, I mean, it's like a hedge. And the funny thing is, I actually planted these 4 foot apart. And normally that's more than enough, but these things, they're not real tall, but they are just so thick. And so I think what I did, give them a lot of nutrients. Obviously, you know, there's plenty of calcium in there. So let me tell you how I planted these. All right, so before I get started, if you have watched this video and you liked it and you have found value in it, please consider subscribing. I would appreciate it. And as always, it is free. Now, last fall, I made a video on what I did to get ready for these. I show you how I drilled the hole, what I put in there, and I'm going to leave a link to that video in the description. But in this very first row here, I used aged chicken manure. And in the rows after that, the row with the great big tomatoes, I used rabbit manure with alfalfa pellets. Now, in both of those rows, I also use very fine ground up eggshells. But even in the ones beyond that where I ran out of eggshells, I'm still not seeing any blossom end rot. Now real quick, before I forget, if you're a beginning gardener and you're watching this, don't worry if you've used these good amendments and stuff and you do get blossom end rot. Don't get nervous yet, especially if it's on tomatoes that are up and towards the top. Because it takes a while for that calcium to move up that plant. And so even last year I had a few that had blossom end rot, but it went away. So, you know, I know this is probably for a beginner, but just don't get real worried just because one or two of your tomatoes get this, okay? Now, chicken manure, rabbit manure, and the rabbit manure has alfalfa pellets mixed in with it. Great source of calcium. Both of them have a lot of calcium, but they also have phosphorus, potassium, copper, you know, all those trace elements, the essential elements that it takes to grow great plants. And so this is why they turn out so good, is just because all them nutrients are there when you use, you know, these amendments. But I understand some people don't have access to this. But you can still use this method, you know, of digging a real deep hole where you can get a lot of fertilizers, you know, in this hole. Compost. If you read up on manure versus compost, they're very comparable. They have a lot of the same traits. And so even if you can't get a hold of manure, try compost and try doing it like this. I've done it for the last 3 years and just had great results, you know. Just great tomatoes, especially last year. I had some really, really good ones. So if at all possible, you know, if you've got somebody at church, a friend, a neighbor, somebody you work with, and they would be willing to give you some of this manure, please use it. But if not, I really do think that compost is a good alternative to that. Well, let me know what you think. Let me know how your tomatoes are doing and just how your garden's doing. I love to hear from you guys. Well, that's the video, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.